It has been a month of relentless fire falling from the sky, yet the silence down on the ground is what truly chills the bone. The bombs have rained down without mercy, but the white flag of surrender never appeared. Now, the Strait of Hormuz feels like a choked artery, and you can feel the anxiety at the local gas pump as global oil prices climb with every passing hour. Out along the sun-baked edges of the Persian Gulf, thousands of young American troops are gathered in the shifting sand, anticipating an order that could set the entire region ablaze. The sea is already crowded with gray steel. The USS Tripoli dropped anchor in late March, bringing the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, 2,200 Marines sweating in the belly of the ship, alongside stealth fighters. Somewhere out in the vast Pacific, the USS Boxer is cutting through the swells, carrying another 2,200 Marines. 2,000 to 3,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne are holding written orders, their bags packed. Above this tense theater, the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group constantly hurls its aircraft into the airspace, keeping up an exhausting rhythm of destruction. But if you look closely, the invincible armor is already showing cracks. The supercarrier that fired the opening salvos, the Gerald R. Ford, sits paralyzed in a Croatian port, knocked completely out of the fight by a devastating onboard fire. Its replacement is still just a promise over the horizon. Right now, the world's greatest superpower is fighting a one-carrier war. These are rapid response units built for quick coastal assaults, not conquering massive nations. The politicians claim no one is going in on the ground, yet military planners are quietly preparing for weeks of brutal operations. The tragedies are mounting before the first boot even crosses a border. Ballistic fire tore into the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, leaving at least 15 Americans injured. On March 12th, a KC-135 went down over Iraq, taking all 6 crew members into the dark. Fear has become the primary currency. The Gulf states initially locked their doors, and Spain simply closed its airspace to our military flights entirely. The battle lines are a tangled mess, and the real ground war has not even started. Naturally, the strategic minds look toward Karg Island. It is just a small, lonely strip of rock 15 miles off the coast, yet it serves as the beating heart of their economy, handling roughly 90% of the nation's crude oil exports. On paper, the logic seems absolutely flawless. Seize the island, hold the economy hostage, and force the regime to reopen the strait. But simplicity in a planning room breeds catastrophe in the dirt. The defenders have spent weeks turning Karg Island into an impenetrable fortress. Any assault force flying in would sail straight into a nightmare of overlapping ballistic missiles, heavy coastal artillery, and dense swarms of drones launched from the mainland just a stone's throw away. Taking that rock is probably achievable for our elite units, but holding it is where the grand strategy bleeds out into the sand. Surviving on that island demands a constant, desperate lifeline of resupply by sea, continuous air cover, and a missile defense system that can never blink. It would permanently anchor our destroyers to the island, turning every supply ship into a sitting duck under the terrifying shadow of shore-based batteries. Russian intelligence is almost certainly watching from above, feeding real-time satellite imagery directly to the defenders. Military analysts have quietly started calling Karg Island a trap of America's own making. It would just create an exposed, agonizing siege on a barren rock with absolutely no clean way to bring our people home. The heartbreaking truth is that the island only matters because the strait is closed, and the enemy never even needed their regular navy to close it. What keeps those waters dead and silent is an asymmetric nightmare that keeps admirals awake at night. Thousands of fast attack boats, semi-submersibles, and mobile missile batteries are perfectly hidden across a coastline that is a natural maze of shadowy coves. Beneath the rolling surface, an estimated 5,000 sea mines wait patiently in the cold water. The very minesweepers that could have cleared a safe path were decommissioned back in 2025, leaving our fleet with an incredibly serious problem and no quick solution. Planners keep suggesting a sustained campaign of helicopter-borne raids to shatter enemy command nodes, but the brutal math of the situation is incredibly unforgiving. That coastline stretches for hundreds of miles. You could run these dangerous raids for weeks, risking young lives every night, only to find that the enemy has simply repositioned their assets while you slept. It becomes a deeply frustrating game of attrition with no finish line. Faith cannot armor steel, and sheer willpower alone cannot secure a hostile sea. Beyond the coast, deep into the interior, lies the very reason the sky caught fire: the nuclear program. Our bombs have severely damaged the surface infrastructure, but deep beneath the ancient bedrock near Natanz lies a facility intelligence circles ominously call Pickaxe Mountain. It is shielded by heavily reinforced portals engineered specifically to laugh off our most advanced bunker buster munitions. Furthermore, over 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium remain completely unaccounted for, likely buried under twisted rubble. If the mountain cannot be broken from the sky, it has to be breached from below. Such an operation would mean sending our most elite special operators into the pitch black, fighting through suffocating underground corridors in brutal, close quarters combat. The risk to human life is absolute. If those heavy blast doors hold even a few minutes longer than expected, those operators become trapped inside a mountain tomb with no way out. A quiet strike instantly turns into an international hostage crisis, forcing the hand of leadership to launch the very full-scale ground war that everyone was desperately trying to avoid. And we all know what a full-scale invasion really means. It means hundreds of thousands of our sons and daughters marching toward Tehran. This is a proud nation of 90 million people living within some of the most unforgiving, defensible mountain ranges on the face of the earth. The very moment foreign boots cross their border, millions of fiercely defensive citizens and paramilitaries will mobilize at once. Matching that kind of overwhelming force would require a scale of national mobilization that the United States has not attempted since the Second World War. In the quiet rooms of the Pentagon, they whisper about the ghosts of Iraq in 2003. They remember the 4,400 Americans killed and the billions burned against a country only a fraction of this size. Senior officials have warned that a full invasion today would cost trillions of dollars we do not have, produce catastrophic casualties, and ignite a chaotic, multi-front war. They did not just lose a battle, they lost their entire idea of how the world works. Yet, the true, fatal hemorrhage of this conflict is almost invisible to the average person watching the evening news. It is measured in the steady depletion of our arsenals. Over 850 Tomahawk missiles were fired in just the first month. That is roughly a quarter to a third of our entire global inventory gone in a flash. Our hard-working factories back home only produce a few hundred of these a year. This means 4 weeks of war consume more high-tech weaponry than our floors can forge in 12 long months. The military has also burned through nearly 46% of its tactical missile systems and 40% of its crucial high-altitude interceptors. Over 11,000 munitions fell in just 16 days, evaporating $26 billion. History teaches us that abundance wins wars. Suddenly, that comforting abundance is gone. These were the very weapons explicitly designed to deter rival powers from making a move on Taiwan. Every single missile fired into the desert is gone forever. Rival nations are sitting back, watching our expenditure rates in real time. Patrols have already noticeably increased around Taiwanese-administered islands. Concurrently, Russia is reaping billions of dollars from the sudden spike in oil prices caused by the strait closure, pumping that money straight into their Ukraine war budget. Every single interceptor shipped to protect the Gulf is one less shield in the skies over Kyiv. The military is burning through its shield faster than human hands can build replacements. We are watching an empire stretched across the globe, watching its precious steel turn to smoke in the wind. When the world order shatters like this, it leaves a terrifying void that no single force can easily fill. The blockade remains stubbornly unbroken. The deep mountain stands unyielding, and the empty factories back home echo with the impossible, heavy demands of the hour. The true, lasting cost of this war is not just the brave ships lost at sea, but the silent, seismic shifting of power across the oceans. It is the realization that the world our children will inherit is changing right before our eyes. The search for answers continues. To truly understand the deep mechanisms of this naval deadlock and how a besieged, vital strait might finally be fractured and brought back to life, the full analysis awaits in the accompanying historical dispatch. The record of our times remains open, waiting for the next chapter to be written.